I'm Sylvanians, and I make videos about Sylvanian families, also known as Calico critters, and today I will be opening blind bags. So these are the latest series called the Baby Woodland Fairy Costume series. They were first released in October 2025 in Japan, and I've just started seeing them in shops since the start of the year in the UK. So this is what the packaging looks like. It clearly takes inspiration from the new fairy series that we've been seeing, with lots of pastel colours and mystical vibes. I really like all of the figures in this set, in particular the little Fontana cat with the snail costume, and also Muffy Floater with her frog costume, but honestly I'd quite like to get the entire series. I have bought 8 blind bags from Smith's, but it would take some really good luck to be able to get all 8 figures with no duplicates, and I thought this could be a good starting point to then maybe buy open blind bags on Vinted or trade for any ones that I'm missing. So let's get opening. The blind bag has all of the options on the front, and the UK editions just has safety information on the back. I know that in the US and Japan they have each of the babies with their names underneath, but yeah, the packaging is different in different countries. Also, the code on here is just the generic code for all of the bags. They are all 5872. And there's not really a way to work out which baby that you're actually getting. I have been using the kind of shake technique and also weighing them as a way to deduce ones. So I will be doing that today so that anyone who is looking for a specific baby in this series can hopefully use those tricks to find them. I have my set of scales here and we'll shake and weigh them before we reveal who is inside. I can hear perhaps a very light thudding with this one, and it weighs 23 grams. So no idea which one this could be. Let's have a look. Oh, it's Mabel. So Mabel Fontana, the latte cat with a flower petal crown. Here is the little catalogue that comes with all of the blind bags. We've got all the figures on the front. And then this guide inside to tick off which ones you've got. We've got the new amusement park set on the back, and some instructions on how to get on the clothes and accessories for certain babies. I'm just going to pick up the figures at the back which got knocked over. I think I'm going to open all of the bags first and then open the babies after. Number 2. Oh, that's definitely a more pronounced thudding noise. So definitely something inside there. And that one is heavier at 33 grams. So I think we've definitely got a different baby. If I had to guess, I would say maybe the Kobee otter, or perhaps one of the 2 sitting babies, or Muffy. I'm not really sure. Is the walnut squirrel. He doesn't have any clothes on, but they are wrapped up in there along with his accessory. So yeah, the thudding was probably him rattling round. Number 3. That's got a rattling too, perhaps slightly lighter. Not sure. It weighs 23 grams as well, so I hope it's not a duplicate Mabel. Maybe one of the newborns with some heavier accessories. It does sound different to the first one. Ah, it is the chocolate rabbit, the sitting one. So although she is sitting as well, the thudding is slightly less than the one with Alfie. But nice to have 3 different ones so far. This is the 4th bag. No noise there, and it does feel very light. So I would guess one of the newborns, because they tend to be wrapped in plastic to stop them rattling. If I had to guess, I would say maybe one of these 2. And yeah, that one's very light. It's just 19 grams. Maybe it might be the mystery one then. Yeah, I was right. This is the mystery baby. I did know what this one looked like, and you can kind of tell from the silhouette that it would be a newborn baby with a flower crown. But he is adorable. We're doing very well for not getting duplicates so far, so hopefully that will continue. No noise that I can hear in this one. And it feels slightly heavier than the previous one. Let's double check. Yeah, 26 grams. Maybe this one? Or the rock? Oh. No, this is the willow deer, a lovely little newborn in a flower costume. And the leaflet as well. 3 more to go. Maybe a slight rattling, but no real noise. And that one weighs 19 grams as well. I hope it's not another Blake Persian. Oh no, it is! Oh, my first duplicate, and it's the secret baby. So it looks like we won't be getting a full set today, unfortunately. And that does mean that I won't be getting my 3 favourites, the frog, the snail and the rock. Let's hope for the frog, I think, most of all. That's got quite a dull thudding. Hopefully it's not another sitting baby. And that is 33 grams. Alfie was 32, and there can be variation in the weights, but hopefully this is a different baby. I think a crawling one would be quite heavy. Let's find out. Oh, it is Alfie again. Oh, so it was just some weight variation. And my final bag. We've still got 3 more figures to find. I really hope it's one of those. We've got more rattling, which to me implies that it is a newborn baby, and it feels lighter as well. The weight of that one is 23 grams. So fingers crossed this is not another rosé. It's another Breeze chocolate. Oh, we started off so well on the duplicates and now we've got 3 of them. So today's unboxing gave us 5 out of the possible 8 in the Woodland Fairy Costume series. It definitely could have been worse, and I have had worse before with the first Fruity series. But I think what I'm going to do now is pause this video and have a look on Vinted for the figures that I'm missing, rather than taking a chance on blind bags again. So hopefully for you, I will be back very shortly. Okay, so it's now a couple of weeks later, and it took me a little while to get the 3 figures that I was missing from this series, but I now have them all, and I also sold all of my duplicates on Vinted, so hopefully some other people have managed to complete their collections as well. I have 2 unopened babies in their original packaging, so we can do the same shake and weight test with these. This one is the frog. There's definitely a thudding sound with this. And weighing it shows 26 grams, so about a middling weight. This one has had a bit of a rip in the bag, so I'm going to weigh it with the original packaging to try and make it as equivalent as possible. I'm not really hearing any sound, but it's quite hard to tell with the sound of the open packet as well. That one comes in at 25 grams. I was having real trouble trying to find an unopened version of the snail, which wasn't like £15, so I did end up getting an open version, but it's still brand new, just without the packaging. Unfortunately, that means that I can't really weigh them. But maybe once we've opened the others, I could try and work out some way of finding the equivalent weight. But I do now have all 8 babies, so I'm really pleased about that, and we can get to opening. I guess I should start with the one that's already open. So this is the Snail baby, and let's just move the camera down a little. So this is Nicolo Fontana, the newborn latte cat baby, and he's dressed as a snail. The accessories with this are so cute, I really love them. Nicolo himself is just in a pale yellow wrap. You can tell it's Nicolo because he has brown over his left ear and grey over his right, whereas his sister Cara has the opposite way round. But his wrap is just the pale yellow. It looks pretty standard, except for this kind of cutout at the back. I assume to make it easier for him to stand on the accessory. And that accessory is this kind of snail shell and stand. It's yellow on the base and pink for the shell, which has a kind of spiral design and lots of little stars on. This part at the back is smooth for him to lean up against, and it's identical on the other side. And down here is just the Epoch Made in China print. So this kind of rounded off rectangle fits perfectly with Nicolo's feet, and the wrap goes over the side to make it kind of all one piece. To make him a snail, he needs some antenna, and that's what this little cap is for. This is a single piece of yellow moulded plastic with the hole at the back so that it doesn't create a vacuum and is able to come off the head, and just 2 little moulded antennae with little balls on the end, and this is the same yellow plastic as the base. So there is Nicolo facing forward. I quite like him looking to the side, as then you can really see that he is a snail. Based on the prices that I was seeing on Vinted, I do think Nicolo is one of the more popular figures in the series, but hopefully that's just because they're new and it will even out in a few weeks or months. I always think yellow and pink are a lovely colour combination and make this look like a nice bright happy snail rather than the usual browns and greys that we see in real life snails. But yeah, Nicolo has been free for a little while since I received him in the post, while all of the rest of his friends are still trapped in their plastic prison. So let's get those open. I'm going to start with another newborn. This is Blake Persian, the Persian cat baby, and he's actually the secret figure in the collection. And here he is out of the bags. So Blake is grey, unlike his sisters who are white, but that makes for a nice little change. He's wearing a green flower print gown, and this is a really soft material, more like the wraps than the satiny gowns that we sometimes see. It is, I think, a couple of shades of green with the yellow flowers, which do look really nice against his grey fur. And there's a scallop design at the bottom, and he is super fuzzy all over. Blake's accessory is a flower crown, and this is yellow. He doesn't want to stand up, but yeah, this is yellow to match with the print on his outfit, and it looks like petals. There's some like beading on the very inside, and actually also some inner petal details on this side as well. So I think it's meant to go this way round, like that, but this way around you can't actually see the inside of the petals. So I wonder if, yeah, you could put it this way around as well. That looks more like a hat to protect him from the rain than the crown, but I do think it's still cute and it stays on still. I was also wondering if it could go on the figure like this, but his ears are in the way and stopping that from happening. Maybe one of the otter newborns might work to wear the crown like this. But for now, I'll keep it on as intended and that way round. So there is Blake. Even though we only saw a silhouette of the baby on the packaging, I think it's quite obvious that he would have a flower crown, and it was just a mystery as to what colour and what figure it would be. Blake isn't often used, so it's nice to see him, and again the green and yellow is a really pretty colour combination, and I like that his crown links to his outfit as well. So he can go at the back next to Nicolo. And I think next I'm going to get the other baby with a flower crown. So this is Mabel Fontana, Nicolo's older sister, and has a costume that is similar to Blake, but just in pink instead. And here are the two pieces. Mabel is one of the regular size standing babies, and I love the latte cats for their pastel patches on their ears. Mabel has an all-in-one dress made out of the shiny satin fabric, and it looks kind of like a flower fairy dress. If I stretch out the fabric, you might be able to see it better. But yeah, the skirt looks like flowers, and then there's pink and orange and green at the top. I think up here on the chest, because the design is quite detailed, it kind of loses the pattern because it has to get pleated to fit around the baby, but that almost looks like a printed on gem in the centre. It's still very pretty and I like all the colours, though it is quite similar to other babies we've seen in the past. Her accessory is this pink flower crown, which looks pretty similar to Nicolo's as far as I can see, just in a larger size and the pink colour. So again, this is meant to go on her head this way round. It's quite tight to get it over the ears, but it looks like a crown that way round, and I assume it can fit on the opposite way around too. I kind of prefer it that way around. This is quite a hard plastic. I wish that it was slightly more rubbery or with a bit more give, just to be able to get it over the ears without damaging the flocking. So I'll pop it on for the rest of this video, and then maybe it can just go on the side in my collection to not leave an indentation. Here are Mabel and Blake next to each other, and yeah, the flower crowns look very similar moulds and they do look very sweet together, though Mabel is slightly easier to stand up. I like Mabel in her pink and green outfit, and I think the latte cats are some of the sweetest figures we've seen most recently, so I'm still happy to get another one of them. Let's stick with the flower theme and open the deer next. So as you will have just seen, but for me it was a few weeks ago, this is Rosé Willow in a kind of flower poncho outfit. So let's get her out. So a few more pieces with this baby, and the leaflet has the instructions on how to put it on. You need to separate the pink part and then put the little green hat on. Okay, and there is our baby. I think this looks really cute, and Rosé probably looks like a little flower. If she was turned upside down, I guess that would be coming out of the plant. The little green hat is adorable and fits around her ears really nicely and feels very fairy-like to me. The pink plastic flower does look realistic, but as I've said many a time, I do prefer fabric outfits. And unfortunately, as you saw, Rosé doesn't have a wrap or gown on underneath, so the plastic is the only thing against her flocking. I might make a little wrap for her. They're really easy to make out of fabric with just 2 holes for the arms. The pink is a very pretty colour. It's like the one that is on the snail shell and on Mabel's flower crown. Just a perfect kind of mid-tone pink. They do call this a poncho. I'm not quite sure if it is a poncho. There's no armholes, but I guess that would have been really difficult to mould out of the plastic as the newborn arms can't be moved around. Rosé fits perfectly into this series, perfectly representing a flower, and I think will look good in both my fairy area as well as the flower garden. So let's put her to the back as well. I feel like Alfie wants to be opened next. He is one of 2 sitting babies in this blind bag series. So Alfie has a few different pieces we need to put on his outfit and also put together his mushroom accessory. So starting with the outfit, in fact this is a really pretty mushroom print on a kind of peach background. It's little green mushrooms with a bit of pink and a few different types. The easiest way to put these type of outfits on is to put the legs on first. Pull that up and then stretch the halter neck elastic over their heads. So Alfie's dressed now and looks much cuter in his outfit. Does have a bit of bulk at the back where they have left the hems quite wide, but it looks okay. And Alfie is just the regular walnut squirrel baby with a hole in his mouth and those lovely dark brown stripes over the top of his head. And that does feel a little rough, but the white part on his muzzle is still soft. His accessory is a big mushroom and this should just pop in. I'm not sure which way round it goes. It probably doesn't matter. But this is, well, 2 mushrooms. One big one with a pink cap, which has white sort of splotches on. Some of these look a little bit like flowers. And then a yellow stem with a tiny yellow one at this end, which I think more acts as a stand. There's also a hole on the back, which I think fits into one of Alfie's hands. And, oh yeah, the cap has these sort of gills underneath, which is kind of unnecessary as you can't really see them, but a really nice detail nonetheless. So if I just put Alfie's arm in there, yeah, it looks like he's kind of holding onto the mushroom. He is kind of hiding behind it, and I wish the mushroom was maybe a little more out so we could see him. It doesn't actually stand up by itself, but we could probably prop it up against something in the collection. For now, I'll leave him holding it, like so. There have been quite a few mushroom type Sylvanians over the years, most notably in the new Fairy Mushroom House set, but also a few different types of mushrooms in previous blind bags, though those were mostly dressed up as mushrooms rather than with a mushroom. I really like how Alfie has a special print design on his outfit to show his love for mushrooms, and if I turn him round a little bit, I think you can actually see it a little better while still having the accessory on show. Yeah, I think that will look better for pictures and in setups. Pretty much all of the babies so far have had a yellow and pink colour scheme, but the final 3 show some different colours. Here is the other sitting baby and the last of the figures which I opened organically. This is Breeze Chocolate. So let's get her out. She only has one small accessory, but we still need to get her dressed. This is a skirt rather than a kind of nappy with legs, but just looking at it now, it's made out of the shiny satin material and all different shades of purple with a kind of amethyst or crystal design on and jagged edges to match. And I can just fluff that out a bit to make it look better. So that's Breeze with just her dress on, but her accessory is something wearable. It is a gem or crystal crown in translucent purple plastic, and there's actually some glitter in there as well, if you can just about make that out. The light shines through it in a really pretty way as well. There's a hole in the top for her ear to go through, and I think they have it on her left ear, and I can spin that round to make it flush against her head. So that's Breeze. We of course had to have one chocolate rabbit in this series, and Breeze makes for a little bit of a change to the usual creme. She also has an open mouth for those long gone dummies, but looks cute still, and I quite like with the sitting babies to put a bottle in between their arms to make it look like they're drinking. The purple crystal design matches with a few of the other babies in this new fairy range, such as the fennec baby, which is actually in the background of this video. That crystal is a slightly different shade of purple. It's more of a lighter pink colour to Breeze's dark purple, but they do look alike, and maybe the crystal cave just has multiple types of crystals in. So yeah, another pretty figure and making a change from all of the yellow and pink we've seen so far. Okay, so now we're on to the final 2 figures, the ones that I bought on Vinted and still in their packaging. I'm going to go with the frog. This is Muffy Floater and one of the babies that I was most excited for in this series. So although I didn't manage to get her organically, I am glad to have her, and I'll get her out of the plastic. Muffy already comes dressed, unlike the sitting babies. She's wearing a green felt kind of skirt. It has light green on the bottom and then a dark green part just at the very front. The seals are kind of funny. They have different shaped feet and hands to obviously look like flippers. These are more rounded and flat than usual. The seals also have a tiny little tail moulded on and are really soft, white and fuzzy. I especially adore their little tiny dot eyebrows. I don't think I've got Muffy yet. I do have her brother Puffy though, from the Riding the Waves playset. Her accessory is a headpiece. It is green plastic to look like a frog with 2 eyes protruding out the top, and little dots, which is breathing holes, like a nose, I think. That's just one piece of plastic all moulded, and the same star hole on the back so that it can come off the baby. So let's put that on. The seals don't have ears, so things fit really nicely on their heads. Not quite sure how far forward to go. Let's just cover her eyebrows. That is so silly and cute. I really love the green and how she is dressed up as a frog. The hat does make her a little top heavy, but I can just about balance her. There have been Sylvanian frogs in the past. These were the bulrushes, originally released in the 90s, and I did see a few comments theorising that this is a hint that Sylvanian Families will be bringing them back. I'm not quite sure if that's the case, but I'm happy to be proved wrong. And for now, I'll stick with little Muffy in her green outfit with a silly little hat. And the final baby, if you've been keeping track, will be this one in the bottom left. So here is Courtney. Again, we have a few pieces to look at. Firstly, Courtney is one of the Cove sea otter newborns. Like I said before, they have really small ears, so almost like the seals with their little bald heads. And the newborns in this family have brown heads compared to the regular baby, the child and the adults, who have white heads with the brown bodies. Courtney is a boulder or a rock and comes with a hard plastic outfit. This is the main body. It is grey plastic with kind of flat surfaces all over as if it's been chiselled out of a rock. But there is a tiny bow tie, which is so silly and so cute. And the arms are out to the side, unlike the newborns who have them to the front. So almost a different pose. And I think Courtney should just be able to fit in there. Yeah, their arms go beneath the rim. Very cute. And there is also a hat to go with it. This is the same plastic with flat surfaces all over, star at the back, and with a little face. It's a very simple face, just eyes and a flat mouth, but that can go on Courtney's head. And there, you can hardly see the baby peeking out between the hat and body. Courtney also comes with a tiny little accessory. This is like a little rock man with the same face and bow tie as Courtney's outfit. Sylvanian Families are calling these little friends, and I've got quite a few now from the different fairy range sets. For instance, this is the mushroom one that came with the mushroom house, and they all have little faces. But yeah, this little rock one, very tiny, very cute, and the perfect little accessory. I'm really glad to have Courtney now. When I first saw these blind bags, the rock seemed so funny to me and very different for Sylvanian Families with all of the grey, but it does look adorable. I've seen pictures of some people where they have duplicates and have painted it more of a green colour to look like a mossy rock, which I think could be nice, though I just have this one for now, so I'll probably be keeping it as intended and solid grey. Including the little friend is a nice detail, and I think links back to the other sets in the range, while still being kind of silly. So that's all of the figures. Let's bring them all to the front again. These are all the babies in the Baby Woodland Fairy Costume series of blind bags, the most recent series which has come out in the UK and Japan as of filming. I do find the blind bag style a little bit frustrating, and as you saw, I did end up with a few duplicates. But thankfully, because Sylvanian families are becoming quite popular, there are lots of duplicates available on Vinted and eBay, which is how I was able to complete the collection and not pay too much more than retail. From the beginning, I think the snail has always been my favourite in the series, and I don't think that has changed. But actually the rock has really grown on me as well, and the silly little frog. But the flower ones look really adorable too, just not quite as unique in the Sylvanian range. So let me know what you think of this series, if you've managed to get all of the ones that you want, and how you feel about the mystery bags in general. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you like Sylvanian Families, then subscribe to my channel as I post videos every week about everything Sylvanian, including unboxings like this, as well as the latest news and announcements.